Can you spot the difference between a molecule and compound? Remember, molecules are any combinations of elements connected by a chemical bond, while compounds have to be made of more than one element. I like to show this diagram to help students understand that all compounds are molecules, but not all molecules are compounds. But both molecules and compounds are made of atoms. Does this first image show a single element or a compound? We can see there are molecules here of the same element and also atoms of the same element, which means this is just an element, not a compound. What about this diagram? Does this show an element or a compound? Since there are two different elements that are bonded together, you can see the different color of elements here. This diagram is showing a compound. All right, what about this diagram? Is this an element or a compound? This is a pretty easy one. There are different colors which represent different elements, which means this is a compound. And lastly, does this show an element or a compound? Even though they're in a circle, they're all the same, which means this is just an element. All right, that's pretty easy because we can just look at the different colors and see that elements are only made of one type of atom. Now you have to tell me whether this diagram shows a mixture of elements or a mixture of compounds. Remember, a compound must be made of two different elements, which means this is a mixture of elements since each molecule or each grouping of atoms is only made of one type of atom. All right, what about this diagram? Does this show a mixture of elements or a mixture of compounds? Since these molecules are bonded together with more than one element, they are a compound, which means these are mixtures of compounds. What about this image? Does this show a mixture of elements or a mixture of compounds? Since these molecules are only made of one type of element, you can see the blue element here and the white element here, these are a mixture of elements. All right, the last one here. Is this a mixture of elements or a mixture of compounds? Again, since these molecules are bonded together and they're made of more than one element, this is a mixture of compounds.